Welcome back once again, everybody, to the Discheads podcast. I am Lachlan, and I'm joined as usual by
his old best friend, Jacob. Oh, fuck, I said my name.
All right, well, you've kicked this off on a high note already, so we can only go downhill from here.
Of course.
Welcome back. It's episode 8. We're the Discheads. We talk about movies a lot, as if you listen to the previous episode. We have plenty to say about Disney. If you mention the word Disney, we will fill up an hour of airtime with nothing but that.
Exactly. So in order to make up for our past mistakes, we are going to not speak about Disney at all. We are not jealous boyfriends of Disney at all. So let's talk about
Just to clarify, we're actually recording this right after the previous episode. So if any new developments have come out regarding Spider-Man's fate, and we're not discussing them in this episode, that's why. Because as far as we're concerned, he's still turned to dust. But anyway, we're going to talk about other things than Disney today. So let's kick off the show. Jacob.
Yes.
What have you been doing with yourself aside from sitting here talking to me?
According to some much more popular YouTubers, I have been editing in between jerk-off sessions. So
Have we said that on the podcast, that you do that?
No.
Not that you jerk off.
Oh, that was already a given, but no, yeah. For those who don't really know, and you probably that's where maybe a big chunk of the audience is. I occasionally do collab editing for a guy called Please Rewind, and I'm a bit behind. As of now, I'm a bit behind on one of our collab projects, but don't worry. It's coming, but yeah, that's all right. That's how far I've gotten in the world. Are you proud of me?
So I'm very proud of you, but I asked you what you've been doing, not what you haven't been doing.
I have just been, doing things, going to film school.
Yeah, you've been going to film school. That's actually well done, Jacob. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. It seems to me, I've had some inside sources on the ground floor tell me that instead of doing some schoolwork at film school, and maybe even instead of working on these videos for Please Rewind, you've instead been making some stupid fucking shit posts.
Well, to be fair, I can't work on Please Rewind stuff when I'm at film school or TAFE, because that would require, I think, this film school has the software they have there is a different version to the ones I have, so it wouldn't work, the cross conversion. So yeah, but
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
Well, you are correct in the sense that I should be doing some work. When really, I am making fucking horrendously bad shit posts occasionally. I should have been working on an assignment Wednesday afternoon, because I had an assignment the day after. And fucking all I was...
Instead, you're sending me recordings from your phone of James P. Sullivan getting horny over Ricardo dancing.
That, and there's the Lion King one where Rafiki literally bashes... Simba's head in, or it cuts from the Lion King to The Walking Dead.
Yes, you sent me that, and I was really confused as to what the fuck I was seeing. But Jacob,
yes,
please, your mother and I are really concerned.
Oh, of course. I know both are. It's an addiction thing. It's a boredom thing. But I assure you, I am doing work. It's just when you've got spare time in a time like that. In a place like that, you want to take advantage of all the shit posting opportunities you can. I mean,
I'd probably be jerking off.
I am doing that as well. In between between sessions, of course.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm not a monster. I'm normal, but but unfortunately. There's only so many breaks you get throughout the day, and
so it seems Jacob thinks that his shit posts are more important than talking to his buddy.
Yeah. To be completely honest, I'm the kind of person who like gets his heads likes to put his head straight into his work. Actually, that's not true at all. But I just don't want to talk to you. It's
That's fair enough.
It's fair enough. I mean, like, you don't talk about anything interesting. I'd rather talk to your wife. I'd rather
if I have to listen to this fucking guy talk about Disney one more time, I'm going to bash my brains in.
I mean, I'd happily, very, very happily talk about Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom with you. I mean, it's
a classic.
It's
a great film.
It is. Have you seen it?
I have. Would you like to talk about that for the next hour?
Yeah. I wasn't too keen on maybe the third act, but yeah.
Oh, really?
I thought it was a pretty stellar entry to an otherwise booming franchise. I reckon it's
Yeah. To be honest, in recent years, my interest in Jurassic Park as a franchise has dropped off, but Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom really brought back my love of the franchise.
Yeah. Like in many ways, like it was so phenomenally just so well shot and so well. I think we got to give Colin Trevorrow some credit. He did a wonderful job writing the movie.
Yeah.
Speaking of well written masterpieces,
you wanted to talk about my live stream yesterday?
Yes, you're wonderful. See, this is also the reason why I'm not getting anything done at TAFE, is because this man here rings me up during the middle of class. I exit.
I didn't ring you up.
Well, who did?
Simmy rang you up.
Right. So I get added to a call. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? What do you want?
And you can see my stupid fucking face on your screen.
Yes. Oh, hang on. I do not have your stupid face on screen. Let me focus. But we were at. Yeah, I answer the phone, and you're there, and I say, "What do you want?" And you're just saying, "Oh yeah, I'm doing a live stream of me going to the shops," and I hung up. I hung up immediately.
So the story is, yesterday I'm playing Counter-Strike with a couple of friends, and I said, man, I haven't eaten any food today and I'm really hungry, but there's like no food in this house. So my good friend Simmy, who has a long history with me on YouTube, he's like, give me a sec, and he disappears for a couple of minutes, comes back and starts munching on some chips. And I'm like, oh fuck, I'm pretty hungry. And he's like, yep, and he's chewing these chips. And then the other person we're playing with, he disappears and he comes back with some chips as well, and they're both just munching and crunching into the camera, into the microphone. And I'm like, oh, fuck you guys. So I'm like, all right, enough games. I'm gonna fucking go to the shops. I'm gonna take you assholes with me. So so we start a Facebook video call, and we call it Lachlan goes to the shops, and then in brackets, all caps lock, live. So this is my live stream of me going to the shops, and I took them with me. So Simmy starts sending invites to basically all of our friends that we share, so that they can all watch my trip to the shops. And,
riveting stuff, I'm assuring you.
Well, to be honest, it was quite eventful.
I kind of regret not viewing it now, but
I legitimately think you kind of missed out a little. It was pretty funny. So we start off, I gave a little house tour because the previous day I'd cleaned my house. All the people that were listening that had previously been to my house and seen it in a pigsty, yourself included, except you didn't get to see it, would have seen it in all its glory. And then we finally went on our trip to the shops. We decided we got to make this a real stream. So I said, hey, if anybody wants to make some stream donations, we can liven up this stream a little, have some audience interaction. So anybody wants to give me stream donations, I will do stuff for the camera. So Simmy straight away, he says, I'll pay you $5 to take your shirt off. While walking around in Sydney, no less. All right. Yeah, right. Fucking do it. Pay me $5. And then a few moments later, I see my little CommBank app appear saying, you've been paid $5 into your account. So as I'm walking into the car park of the shopping center, I completely remove my t-shirt and start filming my half-naked body as I'm walking around. I waited for a moment where I was kind of like no one's looking. Like not too many people around. I'm in the car park, so I take my shirt off, and as I do, I walk past this fucking creepy looking old man who's just doing a little Slav squat behind a car. He's probably fucking breaking into the car, and he's just looking at me like, what the fuck? As this skinny little fucking twink dude he's taking off his shirt to start walking around while he talks to his camera.
See, considering your location, I thought like that would have just been like a normal just a normal fucking Friday. People just walking around with no shirts off. Like probably like, oh, just the resident meth head walking down the fucking...
I guess so. And then we get into the shopping center. Once again, I'm like, which shop should I go into, guys? Simi says Aldi, and I go, oh, I want to go to Woolies. I don't want to go to Aldi. So he's like, I'll pay you 76 cents to go to Aldi instead. I'm like, all right, fair enough. So he pays me 76 cents, and I walk into Aldi, and I'm like, I don't want anything here. I don't want to go here. I want to go to Woolies. But he's like, hey, you got to give me my money's worth. So I walk over, I buy some Jaffa cakes, and open them up and start just walking around the shopping center, shoving Jaffa cakes into my mouth. Which is not exactly a snack that you eat in large quantities in a small amount of time. It's not like a bag of chips.
Yeah, no, they're quite sweet and sugary, but
yeah, I felt fucking miserable afterwards. So then I go to Woolies, I buy all my stuff. People are telling me what to buy. A bunch of people start joining. They're like, "What the fuck is this? Why are we watching Lachlan at the shops?" And then the other person that was with Simi and I'm gonna name drop him here. Mark's his name.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark. Mark's the other person that was in the original call. He decides to liven up my live stream and he starts doing this weird accent, talking about how he's been abused and stuff. It was really strange. And then he says, "Oh no, the abuse is back." And for the next probably 10 to 15 minutes of me walking around the shops, it's just him having extremely loud, like slapping, like almost like whip cracking noises, and him screaming into the microphone to the point where I was kind of wondering, like, is there actually another person in the room with him? Because it just kept going. There was these really loud, like, slap, like, almost like a whip crack. I don't know how he was making these noises. And then just him screaming in pain. And at this point, we're all like, what the fuck is happening? Are we hearing a murder?
What a wonderful thing! I'm sorry I missed out. I missed out on this whole experience. I would have given you $5 to do some crazy shit.
It's funny because Simi's really poor, but he paid me $5.76 to take my shirt off and go to Aldi.
And he got his money's worth. I'm pretty sure
He did get his money's worth. He basically paid for those. He paid for those Jaffa cakes that I bought at Aldi. So thanks for that, Simi. Shout out to you.
So for those who want to know what the future of the channel means, that means basically now we're going to begin ethotting. And this is Lachlan's transition to becoming an ethot. We're going to be selling bathwater, all the essentials. The ethot merch.
So we did make these jokes. I called my dad afterwards, and I was like, "I'm a cam girl now." He's like, "What the hell is a cam girl?" I'm like, "Well, I live stream, and you pay me money to do naughty stuff."
And you're like, "Don't lie, you know what a cam girl is." Everyone knows what a cam girl is.
I saw you in the stream.
I saw you in the stream. Oops, shit.
$5 from Dad. Take your pants off, son.
You're a mistake.
And what else happened? So I get home from the shops. I bought some sushi. So then I do a mukbang, and they all are subjected to watching me eat sushi for the next 20 minutes.
Nice.
Which was very uncomfortable for all parties, myself included.
I mean, I'm sure there's an audience for that. I mean, like, you ever seen them?
It wasn't the audience that was watching. They were all deeply disturbed.
I mean, have you seen that movie with Casey Affleck called A Ghost Story?
I have not. What is the...
Basically it's a movie about grief, but there's a 6-minute long segment where Rooney Mara just eats some pie. So I guess people who love that movie, and it does have its fans, would love to watch about half an hour of you eating sushi.
Then Simi was trying to reignite the donation train. He was asking me, how much would you pay? How much do I have to pay you to just eat some wasabi? And I was like, no amount of money, dude. Like, you would have to pay me a lot. Because he was like, $2? No, I'm not going to just eat some wasabi for $2. But I did have some Doritos new flavor Japanese wasabi chips. So I was like, you know what? I'll give you a little taste for free. So I open up my bag of wasabi Doritos, and I'm like, we got to make this a full event. Simi, I need you to start. I need you to turn your webcam on as well. So he does. I'm like, I need you to be on the other side of the room, doing the floss dance while I eat this wasabi chip. So I apologize to everyone who was watching at that point, because they were just watching Simi just straight face doing the floss while I was screaming in pain from eating a disgusting wasabi flavored Doritos chip. Like, it was a sight to see.
Anybody questioning our mental state at this moment, we will assure you we're all right. We're okay.
It was a good time. It was a good time. I had fun. It was a really spur of the moment, just like, I'm going to go to the shops, and Simi's going to call a bunch of my friends to watch me go to the shops, and insanity will ensue. So I am sorry that you missed out on that.
I am. I missed out on a lot of that whole chat. Like, that chat was pretty insane. Like, I get back from the movies last night, which is what I'll transition to in a little bit. But like, I get back from the movies, and I look at the chat because like my phone was buzzing the entire time I was watching the movie.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I hate when that happens.
Well, it wasn't just you in the chat. It was like there was like an Instagram fucking group that someone was that were trying to call me for some weird reason. Fucking, it just heaps of people. But like not that I'm incredibly that popular. It's just some reason was added to a bunch of groups. And
Today was your day.
And today was my day. And then I get home, I look at my phone. Well, no, I don't even get home, look at my phone. I just get in the car, look at my phone, and I see that the chat that was supposed to be you ethotting has suddenly turned into my fan club. And I look at
it was something.
I was like, oh man, this is sweet. Like there's people just saying, oh my god, it's Jacob, and I was like, oh, this is sweet. Then I look and I've been removed from my own fan club. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
They tried to steal my moment, man.
They tried to steal your moment. I didn't even get to have a moment. You're like, if I don't get a moment, nobody can. I guess that was my fault for watching a movie, but I was like, I didn't get to revel in
I'm sorry.
To revel in this moment. You stole my 15 minutes of fame.
I'm very sorry that happened, but it was a wonderful occasion yesterday.
It was definitely a good day.
Yes.
Speaking of going to the movies, we saw some movies that day, did we?
That weren't released by Disney. Thank the Lord.
Yeah, Disney productions of a very famous kind of unknown movie called Battle of Long Tan.
Yes, which you watched. I haven't watched. Tell us about Danger Close, the Battle of Long Tan, because I know nothing.
Well, I didn't watch it last night, but I watched it a while ago. But it is a good movie. It's good to see. Yeah. I watched it like I got a weird sense of like, I don't know, patriotism or like a Dick Smith sort of thing, where I was like, support your local industry sort of thing. So I was like, I was gonna go and watch this partly because I was like, oh, I've heard about the Battle of Long Tan. It's good. It's a big historical event, and I want to check it out and watch it. It's good.
Yeah. Is there anybody of note in it?
Travis Fimmel from Vikings.
Oh, I do like Travis Fimmel.
Yeah, like
does he do the same fucking voice that he does in everything, or does he act in this movie?
Honestly, it's the first couple of things he almost puts on that Ragnar voice. He talked.
Yeah, because you haven't seen the Warcraft movie, have you?
No, I have not.
He does the exact same voice as Vikings. When everyone else is speaking American, he's for some reason still doing that voice.
Yeah, like he puts on the Aussie voice fine here, but like occasionally, like it's when he talks like really low and like that, he just hear Ragnar. But
yeah, because he is Australian.
Yeah, he is Australian, but I think like maybe it's just maybe.
Although I do think he does have some like Nordic heritage to him as well.
Well,
he's got Nordic.
I bet he does. He's a hunk of a man. Yeah, he's good in the movie. Not any other common Australian people.
Are you searching it up right now?
Yeah, I am. I just typed in Travis Fimmel. Medal of Long Tan. Yeah, it was good to see that we can make a movie that's not just like a sort of family drama. Because
Yeah.
if you look at Aussie cinema, like occasionally like there's nothing really that big, and it's all like really reserved and small scale. It's either like it's like a small comedy or a small drama. Maybe
What would you consider some classic Australian cinema?
Muriel's Wedding,
The Castle.
The Castle, Red Dog. I don't really like Red Dog, but Red Dogs are very common.
I like Red Dog. It makes me cry like a bitch.
Uh,
But I have no desire to see Red Dog True Blue. I'm yet to watch that one.
well, it's hard to say what's an Australian film because some films are set in Australia, but they were made in America, and
That's true. Is Crocodile Dundee actually Australian or is it American production?
I think it's Australian.
Okay.
The Sapphires is good. The Babadook, the Sapphires, Dressmaker. They're all the Mad Max films.
Yes.
The movie, very aptly titled Australia, Wolf Creek. So yeah, we got
Happy Feet, which I'd prefer to forget.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't mind Happy Feet.
I
Gatsby,
fucking despise Happy Feet.
Great Gatsby. Yeah, there's like a lot of like.
Well, is Great Gatsby an Australian production? Isn't it just an Australian director?
Probably. I don't know. Yeah, that's yeah, again, that's the difficult one. Is an Australian production starring?
Yeah, that's the age-old question.
Because like stuff that's made here, like other than Mad Max is probably our biggest ones. But then again, like Mad Max.
Well, in terms of being made here, it seems like everything's filmed here these days.
Yeah, and that's the tricky thing because like Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith could be considered a Australian film because it was shot in Fox Studios in Queensland.
Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean, an Australian film because they use Queensland beaches and shit like that.
Exactly. So it doesn't. I think it's what we'll consider a movie, an Australian film, is a movie made by us about us.
It's like a quintessential Australian thing that every Australian has sort of seen, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So we got a few that are well known to us, and but they're not. To be completely honest, a lot of them aren't that memorable. I hated The Dressmaker. I fucking hated that movie. But that's a
I think my mum hated it as well. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I steer clear of it. It's a frustrating experience. But Battle of Longtown, I think like it's a very generic movie, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad it exists because we're getting a movie made by us that's not just a little drama set in some middle of backwater fucking Broken Hill. Like they shoot everything in Broken Hill, but like it's got budget to it and it's got a bit of professionalism. You're like, our industry can make big war films. Our industry can make stuff like that. It's like, wow, that's impressive. But at the same time, it's like Battle of Longtown, I will admit, is a pretty generic war movie. It's good. It's interesting, but it's like, this is every war movie I've ever seen before.
Sure. Would you recommend it? Do you think?
I'd recommend it on the very small chance that you'd get to see it, because I'm not sure what percentage of people who watch us are Australian. They're probably a large part are, but yeah, I'd recommend it like just for maybe easy viewing, because like I recommend like maybe taking parents or like maybe a few people to go see, because like it's an event film, I guess, for us because we have a big war movie made by us. But yeah, that
explains why I haven't really heard of it, because it's Australian.
There's nothing really that insulting or nothing really that it's funny because like the Vietnam War is such a it's not like World War II where everything was just black and white. The Nazis bad, the Allies good. Yeah. There's a bit of grey area with World War II, but like the scenery gets a lot more grayer in Vietnam and like Afghanistan and Iraq, where it's just no one's really the good guy in both of these stories. We're all fucking scumbags. So it's kind of using. Well, no, not all of us, but like we. Maybe,
every single one of us, Jacob.
Every single one of us. Lest we. No, I'm not gonna say that. Lest we forget.
Just cut it here. End the episode.
Lest we forget the scumbags. But yeah, like it's hard to do like because Battle of Longtown was like basically it was a victory for us. It was about us nearly getting are about like a group of like I think 100 Australian soldiers versus about 2,000 North Vietnamese, and it's hard, especially in a scenario like this, in a war like this, to do a very triumphant war story about Vietnam because it is so politically divisive.
Yeah.
So I guess in that regard, it can be considered, oh no, offensive, but it's not that offensive. It's just here's one battle. Here's the sacrifice these guys had to go through, even regardless if like the war in Vietnam was justified. It's like, well, they were there not really by choice, and they fought well. Thank you for your fight. Goodbye. Like it's very basic. It's a very basic war movie. So yeah, I guess. Okay. I don't think any. I think Australians might get something out of it, but like Americans probably not.
Sure.
Or any other country to be like, oh, okay, that's it's interesting, but like I think it'd have more impact here than it would have somewhere else. Like, obviously so.
Okay.
Yeah, good movie. Travis Fimmel talks like a human for half of it. And,
what are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that he I don't know what I was trying to say, but
you were just continuing your endless tirade of racism.
My endless tirade of racism. Can you pass me the shovel? I broke my shovel.
Are you digging yourself into a hole over there?
Yeah, the hole's pretty deep now. Yeah, that's
dig your way to China. Not that you'd want to.
Not. I wouldn't be able to see the gay scenes in Bohemian Rhapsody. Like, why would I dig my way to China?
Oh no. All right, so that was Danger Close. Final thought, Jacob.
Generic but impressive. Support your local film industry. Thumbs up from Roger Ebert.
Cool. Thanks, Roger Ebert. On the other end of the scale, I also went and saw a movie that you didn't see.
Yep.
I went to see Midsummer, the follow-up film, not a sequel, nothing to do with it, but the follow-up to Ari Aster's directorial debut, which was Hereditary, a film that you and I both hold in a very high regard.
Good fucking movie.
Good fucking movie. It's one of my favorite horror movies, to be honest.
It's up there. It's up there for me, yeah.
Yeah.
But to be honest, like I haven't seen a whole lot, so I don't really have that much to compare it to. But yeah,
fair enough. So I went to see Midsummer. I actually had a whole fucking experience going to see this movie. So I've been waiting ages for this movie to come out in Australia. It came out like a month or two ago in America. We had the whole it takes a while to get to overseas, get international thing. Mm-hmm. So we finally get it. I've been waiting a couple of months for this. And I find out that in event cinemas, it's playing in one cinema across the entire country.
Really?
Yes, it was only playing in George Street, which is in the inner city of Sydney. And I was like, fuck, I've been really wanting to see this movie. So Tuesday night, after work, I make the trip. I travel down into the inner city of Sydney to go watch fucking Midsummer at 9 o'clock at night. So I didn't get back home till like 1 in the morning. After the film, like I literally just leave the cinema and then I get an email from Event Cinemas saying, Midsummer now playing all across Australia. And literally, so the day after I go see it, it's now playing 10 times a day at my local cinema. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Well, that is quite annoying. Is it only playing just in Sydney?
No, it's playing all over now.
Wait a minute.
You're investigating. You're going to call me out on this?
I'm going to call you out on this.
Okay, go for it. Go for it, dude. If you think I'm full of shit, you prove me wrong.
Uh-huh. All I see is Late Night Palm Beach and Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. So, maybe it's just not showing where
Is that today or tomorrow?
Today.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's not that many. It's already late today.
Don't lie to me. You'll
have a look at what's on tomorrow, Jacob.
Fucking piece of shit. Even that shitty Gerald Butler Something Has Fallen is
Angel Has Fallen.
Angel Has Fallen.
God damn it. I haven't seen any of those movies. I have no intention of seeing them.
Lion King, Palm Beach. No.
Okay, alright. Well, it maybe... I don't know. It's playing at my local cinema now when it wasn't the day before. It wasn't the day that I went to see it, but the next day it was, so that was annoying for me.
How can I take anything you say seriously and with credit when you've just lied to me about this
Okay.
thing?
You know what? You're absolutely right, Jacob. That whole live stream thing that I talked about for like 15 minutes earlier, I made it all up. Made all of it up. I called you, you didn't answer. You said I'm at TAFE, you hung up, and then I ended the call because I was so upset.
So you mean you aren't a cam girl?
No. I just wanted people to think I was cool.
Shit. I put money aside for you, man. I really wanted to see you pull back your foreskin on live.
You're better to do with savings and Lachlan than I am. Then, if you put money aside for me, you're doing better than me in terms of savings.
I mean, I didn't really. I got a Westfield voucher if you want it.
Please. Well, anyway, I saw Midsummer. It's a very different film to Hereditary. I would say Hereditary is the better film. Midsummer, though, it was a very, very well-directed film. Like, this dude, I will go see basically anything this guy makes, like, opening night, because he really knows what he's doing. And it's nice. It's nice to see a filmmaker who can make film.
Is he an up-and-coming filmmaker? You reckon he's the shit now? My God.
I think so. Like, this film, I don't like it as much as Hereditary, to the point where I actually, because I'm a big stupid idiot, like, the film ended and I was like, I didn't get a word of that. Because Hereditary is far more straightforward. It's still a very clever film, but you understand what went on in it. This one, it doesn't give you much in terms of story. And it's all like, it's one of these sort of artsy, it's an art house film. It's like, oh, the story is told through its themes. You got to understand its themes. You got to study this film to understand what was happening. And yeah, so I didn't really get it at first. I looked up what people were saying about it, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's pretty cool. But Hereditary, I'm not trying to say that being straightforward is better. Like, you can make a film that's open to interpretation of that, but just all across the board, Hereditary is the better film. Midsummer had me very, very disturbed. I messaged you after I watched it. I was like, I don't know how to feel. All I know is I just have this sick feeling in my stomach.
From what I gather from hearing people talk about it and hearing you talk about it, is it one of those classical feel shit movies?
Yeah. There's nothing, like, the film's rated R for surgery detail. I'm not sure what that's about. I don't remember any of that. But just in general, like, there's nothing stand out, like, visually disgusting.
Oh yeah.
Okay, there is. But that's not what made me feel sick. It wasn't any gross visuals. It's just the film as a whole. I just had this horrible feeling in my stomach after watching it.
Right. So is it a horror movie or is it just like a really bad...
Look, it's technically horror genre, but it's really not a horror film. Like, Hereditary is more clear-cut a horror film.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to classify this one as.
Psychological horror or...
I just don't really know. It's kind of in its own little sub-genre or whatever. Although I do find it kind of funny. I've had other people point this out to me, the fact that there is so this film, it's about this chick, tragedy strikes, and she decides to go with her friends to Sweden to go to this midsummer festival, and all this fucked up shit starts happening.
Yeah.
There's a film called Midsummer that came out in the mid-2000s about a guy who has this horrible tragedy, and he decides to go to a midsummer festival in Sweden with all of his friends, and fucked up shit starts happening.
Wow, how very convenient.
I know.
Ari Aster is a fraud, I guess.
As far as I am aware, the actual contents of the film are very different, but the fact that this film has got the same name and the same premise, it's very odd. Like, I'm not sure if he's aware of it, like if he's trolling, or if it's just a complete coincidence. Who knows?
Who knows? Or maybe did it say at any point, like during the credits, this was inspired by, or
No, nothing like
no.
that. But it was just very odd.
It's seems like it. Maybe it wouldn't have been a remake, would it? No.
No. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm aware, it's got very little to do with each other outside of similar overarching premise.
Unless it's just a very common like young person thing to do. To you feeling sad? Let's go on a backpacking trip to Sweden.
I guess, but it's the fact that they're both called Midsummer as well.
Yeah, true.
Except one's got an E and one's got an A at the end of the word. Midsummer.
I'm guessing the A makes it a different word, or is
The
it actually
A is I assume the Swedish spelling of the word.
Samar?
I would recommend people go see it. It's not my favorite film. I said to you that I really quite liked it, but I'd be happy to never watch it ever again.
Yeah, your same assessment of Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork Orange, fantastically made film, but it was just so uncomfortable for me. I have no need or want to ever see and experience that ever again.
Thank you.
What was that?
My mind walked into the room. Well, get off me. Shut the door.
Jacob, you're not being cyberbullied, are you?
No, not quite. She came in to return a bit of blue tack I left out on the bench.
Jacob, you left your blue tack out here. You really attached to that blue tack. I hope you're not being cyberbullied.
I'm getting bullied by blue tack.
You were so flustered you left your favorite piece of blue tack outside.
I can't. You know me. I can't function without my blue tack.
I would recommend people go see it just because this is a man that understands filmmaking and wants to make original. Okay, aside from what I just said about the premise being the same, he wants to make very different, very unique, original films. So I recommend people go see it because I want this film to do well, and I want more of these films to come out.
So he's what you'd call a filmmaker?
He's a filmmaker.
Right.
That's right.
That's interesting.
I'm setting you up here, Jacob.
That changes everything. And you know what else? Where films are made?
Where most films made?
They're made in Hollywood.
Never heard of it.
Neither, but I'm sure you would have heard of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's about that fictional place.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's Tarantino's new film, right?
Yeah. To Taran, I sniff the feet, Tino.
So Tarantino's bringing light to this fictional place that most people haven't heard of, and he's being like, this is this thing that used to exist.
Yeah, it's a fairly romanticized version of this fictional place, because the real place is a bit more scungy, is a bit more how would you say, cynical, depressing. Which actually this running joke that we're making currently right now is actually kind of one of the themes of the movie. But we'll get into
the death of Hollywood.
The death of the innocence of Hollywood.
I just have an opening statement. So we're talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino's ninth film?
Ninth film, but technically his 10th. Because he counts Kill Bill 1 and 2 as one movie.
Yes, okay. Fair enough. So my opening statement, I've got to tell you, Jacob. So we're both fans of Tarantino.
Yes. We are. I think I've seen most of his films except for Death Proof.
Yes, I haven't seen as many, but from what I have seen, he's wonderful. I've enjoyed every single one of his films that I've seen. I gotta say, dude, this film, he has outdone himself this time. The amount of feet in this film, unparalleled to his previous entries in the Quentin verse.
I know, it's like, I think from what I remember, Inglourious Basterds, Django Unchained, Hateful Eight, those were his most recent movies, but there was barely any feet in it.
I know, and I was like, why did I even watch this,
I know, like, they were so boring, but this film, it really kept you hooked with those the dirty soles of Margot Robbie's feet.
I was shocked. I heard people make jokes about this before I watched it, and they were like, "Oh, it is a crazy amount of feet in this movie." But I was not let down when I actually watched it. There was so much feet. The dude's given up on even trying to hide it. It's just fucking feet everywhere. Feet on screen. Someone puts their feet up on a cinema chair, and their feet are on screen much larger than the character's faces. The character's face is in the background, and it's just close-ups of their feet.
Yeah,
it's insane.
See, the thing is, if you didn't know a thing about Tarantino, you wouldn't really notice it that much. You think, oh, someone's just putting their feet up. But with the knowledge that Quentin might have a foot fetish, or I think he does have a foot fetish.
Yeah, there's photos of Quentin Tarantino just like with women's feet up against his face.
It's also pretty evidence from the movie Dusk Till Dawn, where what's that sexy Spanish chick? What's her name?
What, Salma Hayek?
Salma Hayek puts a...
How did you forget? You tell me all the time about how much you want to fuck her.
Yeah, whoops. It's nothing personal, baby. It's I fucking... Yeah, like that movie, like he's just sitting there like transfixed on her, and then she like starts putting her fucking foot in his mouth. It's like it's very, very obvious now.
Yeah.
And with that information in our
Wait,
brains.
did she put her foot in Tarantino's mouth in the movie?
In the movie, yeah, Tarantino stars in the movie.
Oh my god!
And she puts her foot in his mouth. I think she runs beer down her leg or something like that, and like it goes into his mouth off her foot, and he's like licking her foot. It's
Oh dear.
It's quite the scene, and I think with that knowledge firmly planted in our prefrontal cortexes, whenever we see feet in a Tarantino movie, it's quite sinister. in a way, it's like, you sly dog. Like I bet he's like, I need your feet to be up in this scene.
You're
darling.
enjoying this, aren't you, Tarantino?
Yeah, definitely. Have you seen that still where he's you might have to put it up on the screen maybe, but the still of him filming a scene from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and that hippie chick's in the car with Brad Pitt and her feet are hanging out the window.
Yeah.
And like there's like Quentin with the camera up, or like looking through the camera, and her feet are straight through the just pointing straight at the camera. It's I'll send it to you, but it's there's more to his films than feet, but he's known for usually grotesque violence, swearing, feet. But in this film in particular, it was probably more feet than fucking violence or swearing.
Well, yeah, it's 2 hours and 40 minutes long, and it's his most restrained film in terms of violence. So he really had to inject another form of love into the film because it was severely lacking his usual violent tendencies. So he was like, right. Well,
I think he kind of shot his bolt with Hateful Eight and all the previous three movies, because like he was restrained on the feet, but you can only. It's very telling. Like when he shows restraint, that the last 10 minutes are going to be insane. He just can't handle it, right? So like he's like, okay, I've gone this long without violence. I'm going to make the ending as fucking violent as I possibly can. So this was probably his excuse for like, look, I've gone 3 fucking movies without a close up of a single woman's foot. I'm just going to throw it in there regardless. I'm going to throw in dirty hippie feet. I'm going to throw in
the whole fucking movie.
Whole movie. But so what did you think of Feet the movie?
Once Upon a Foot in Hollywood was one of the most enjoyable film experiences I've had at the cinema this year. We've had a pretty shitty track record with films this year, to be honest. It almost makes me glad that we disappeared for like 6 months, because there was just not much to report on, really, was there?
Not really. Not like other than maybe Into the Spider-Verse, but that's about it.
That's true. That was during our hiatus, but that was last year anyway.
It was.
But dude, I said to you before we started recording that, well, like Midsummer, I sound like a fucking moron this episode. Like Midsummer, the film ended, and I didn't really understand any of what had just happened. Yeah. And yes, it is, as you said, like it's a kind of a hangout movie, so not that much has to happen. But there was an overarching background storyline going on, and because of my not being caught up with the history of the events, I didn't really get it. But I've since like I understand it now, and it's such a good movie, man.
It is. Yeah, I think it's mostly because we're younger. Like a lot of people probably who are older than us probably would have known more about this. It was really well known case, and like and plus Charles Manson is one of the most prolific fucking cult murderers ever. But like he we didn't know so basically. In real life, Charles Manson had a family of hippies, which he drugged up and basically manipulated.
Yeah.
To do his bidding. Like I was watching it with one of my mates. He said, "Really hippies were murderous thugs like that?" I was like, "Yeah." Like Charles Manson was a hippie drug addict, but he was trying to start a race war between white people and black people.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Shit!" So the guy was insane. He was just fucking evil.
Mm.
So, but also in real life, not only is he evil, but he basically got his smelly hippie cohorts to go and murder some high some sort of like elite white Hollywood elites,
Yes.
or like upper class white people, and he was going to blame it on black people to start this helter skelter race war, which is
yes.
what it was about. Essentially, the movie is almost leading, like it sort of leads up to that moment because Sharon Tate is in the movie. Sharon Tate was a real
that
life
was
actress.
My mum's big concern with the film. She was like, "Oh, I'm not happy that it's about Sharon Tate. I feel like it's going to be disrespectful." Blah 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 blah. But I think it was very tasteful in terms of her. We're not going to spoil the movie, but I think that it was a wonderful ending in terms of Sharon Tate.
It was probably one of the most satisfying endings of a Tarantino movie I've seen in ages.
It's strangely heartwarming, despite how sadistic the ending is.
Oh yeah, like it's of all the films of Tarantino's that end, like usually they're kind of bittersweet-ish.
Yeah.
This was just a straight up happy ending for almost everyone. Mm-hmm. And it was like, wow, this is probably like
for almost everyone.
I can't almost everyone. I won't spoil anything, but almost everyone is a big wink wink. Yeah, it's strangely sentimental because like a lot of Tarantino's films end, even if they end on a happy note, there's still a bittersweet. Sometimes they end a bit bittersweet, but it's mostly happy. Yeah. This is just straight up mostly happy, and it's probably like the first time in ages. Like I can't imagine if this movie had ended on a bittersweet note. I don't reckon it would have been as much of a satisfying experience.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, this ending was well deserved. This ending was well deserved. It didn't feel too what's the word? Pathetic, not pathetic, but like pathetic, where it's like overly sentimental. Like, isn't everyone happy? It's like, okay, this is earned. The happy ending is earned.
I think everyone in the cinema, as the credits started rolling, were just there like, what the fuck? For the final 20 minutes of the movie, that they wouldn't have even.
Well, here we are talking about the ending. I think because it's a 3-hour movie, so we skipped over a fuck ton of it. So a lot of it, since it is a hangout movie, a lot of it is just about like.
It's very slow.
It's very slow. It's very slowly paced. Like I think I'll get into the reason why it's probably that slowly paced. But in terms of the film, like most of the movie takes place in one day, so it's about multiple people doing multiple things in one day. But it's not snappy editing. Like it's all cut to this person doing this, cut to this person doing that. It's like there's an entire day's worth of Leonardo DiCaprio on set doing a film shoot, and it's basically the biggest character arc essentially is Leonardo DiCaprio trying to overcome or deal with the fact that he's a has-been, and that shit's hilarious, and his stuntman being there to help him. Cliff Booth, who has some of the best moments in the movie.
Yeah, who's your favorite actor or character of the film? Mine's definitely Brad Pitt as Cliff Booth.
Yeah, Cliff Booth as well. Like I think Brad Pitt was just charming in it.
Every time he's on screen, it's just wonderful.
But I think I think like the reason why I think a lot of people won't like it. I know one of my friends who I watched it with didn't like it.
Yeah.
Until the last 15 minutes is because it feels like not a lot amounts to anything. In that regards, it feels kind of like a Coen Brothers movie. Like, it feels like a bunch of stories brought up and then not really kind of like Big Lebowski was not really resolved that well.
Yeah.
But in upon viewing again, knowing the style it was going for, it makes sense to me because it's about people trying to, it's basically about several. There's a looming threat of something's going to happen.
Yeah, if you know the real life events, there's tension throughout the whole film,
which is a bit annoying for people who don't know anything about it because you're like, who are these people? What are they gonna do?
That's why I didn't really understand it when I went to see it. But I would love to go watch it again now that I know the actual events because it's really awesome.
Yeah, I think understanding the events gives it more of an appreciation. Therefore, adds a lot more tension. Like I only knew very basic stuff beforehand. Yeah. Actually, I was watching a documentary about it before the movie even came out because I heard it was about that, about Charlie, parts of it about Charlie Manson.
Yeah,
but but to a lot of people, it will feel just like fat, just scenes that go on and don't really amount to much. But it's about. Essentially, I think what many historians and what Quentin was trying to say is the Charlie Manson murders or the Charlie Manson thing. It was the end of an era for Hollywood.
Yeah,
and it was sort of the beginning of when people were trying to say, when Hollywood was when you would say losing its innocence, and by having the brutal murder of an actress in real life by some fucking coked out hippies is Yeah, that's the whole thematic thing. So the film may seem like it's about nothing, but if you have the patience and you have the time to think about it, like, oh, that's what it's about. It's about the coming to grips with the end of an era and what Hollywood is essentially about, really.
With the news that it might be Tarantino's last film as well, I hope he doesn't go into retirement, but it almost reflects the current climate because it's like if Tarantino leaves, that will feel like the end of an era as well. Because to me personally, he feels like I was saying Ari Aster is like building himself up as a filmmaker, but in terms of large scale cinema, I feel like Tarantino's the last real filmmaker that's around these days.
Yeah. Like you got massive, big produced movies from studios, but they don't feel like a person's movie. Like Tarantino has a definitive stamp. Like
they're a company's group effort to make this product. Even like not saying that they're bad. Like you and I generally will thoroughly enjoy the new Marvel movie and whatever, but they feel like a studio product.
Yeah. So, and occasionally you might have one like a Guardians of the Galaxy where you can definitely feel someone's influence, but but I think we're losing like even Sam Raimi. Like Sam Raimi is one of those people who has a definitive stamp. This is my movie. This you can tell was made by him. The thing is, like, Raimi doesn't make anything anymore, and the fact that Quentin's leaving is like, oh, we've lost someone. So who do we have? And all we've got really is A24, Ari Aster's, and the people who make that stuff because they are successful financially and critically.
Yeah, well, looking at some of the filmmakers of old, like the biggest people, like Steven Spielberg, even Steven Spielberg these days, what was his most recent film? Ready Player One?
Oof.
Doesn't feel like a Steven Spielberg film. It feels more like a nostalgia-filled product. And I actually, I don't mind the movie. I know you didn't like it at all. But I can definitely understand. It doesn't feel like a whimsical Steven Spielberg film. It just feels like another movie.
No, it felt a lot like a side project. Like Spielberg's good. Like I like Spielberg, but I think I think like with his recent movies, I don't know what it is. I think he's either just getting old and sentimental, or like he's just been in the producer's chair for so long that now he's just funding shit as opposed to having like a real creative hand. Because that's when you said like Ready Player One doesn't feel like a film like hit by him. I was like, there's parts of the film that feel like him. It feels like if Spielberg was to make a movie but only show up on the weekends with a cup of coffee and be like, yeah, that's good, okay, like what George Lucas did with the fucking prequels, just like, yeah, that's fine. walk off, get a coffee, come back, wait till everyone's done with their shit. Like it's.
What are you talking about? Those films were masterpieces, Jacob.
Well,
They're like poetry. They rhyme.
every stanza rhymes the last one. Hopefully it'll work. But yeah, like even what's Martin Scorsese isn't even making like a lot of these
Yeah.
up and coming like directors who like had their own stamp, who made different things. Because even Ready Player One, for example, is like just an amalgamation of every like pop culture, everything. It's not.
It's an amalgamation of everyone else's beloved films and projects and games.
Exactly. So I think it's just a side effect of becoming that big and that famous. Sorry, Spielberg, but even though like I haven't, yeah, it's just I think the writer director, like we need more Tarantinos and we don't.
Yes.
And if they are, they're making stuff on TV really, or they're making really low budget stuff like and Tarantino is a funny thing because it's not just he has a definitive style, but he also likes employing A-list celebrities.
Yeah.
So it's not just like he gets really good actors. He's like, I want to get a good performance out of John Travolta, or get a good performance out of fucking Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio. These are massive celebrities, but didn't really pick them so much because they were famous, even though it's largely the reason. He's like, I want them for the role because they can be good for the role, but also they're famous. Like but now it's like that idea is so very 19s, is getting phased out. Like because like there are new and up and coming actors, but they're not reaching that sort of like celebrity status so much because I don't think people give a fuck about celebrities anymore.
Yeah.
So it's a shame because no one, because like aside from Tom Cruise, like people will like go see a Tom Cruise movie because it's called a Tom Cruise movie.
Tom Cruise, people don't really like Tom Cruise much anymore.
No. But you get what I mean. Like people are like, oh, that's a Tom Cruise movie, as opposed to when the new Star Wars movie comes out, they're not like, oh, it's a Harrison Ford movie. They're just like, oh, it's a Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
like it's.
They don't give a fuck who the lead of the new Marvel movie is. They just want to go see the new Marvel movie.
Yeah, like the actor isn't the selling point anymore.
Yes,
which is a good thing and a bad thing, I guess, because like I guess it's a good thing because like sometimes like you can get actors like who phone in a shit performance, and the only reason that it'll be seen is because people recognize the actor. But like,
yeah, Bruce Willis, anyone?
Will Smith, I guess, kind of, but
yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I think people are getting sick of the whole. The only reason I'm going to go see a movie is because of the actors in it. They're going to be like, I'm going to go see a movie because it's a franchise I recognize.
Yeah. Another thing,
much more safe.
With Tarantino potentially leaving as well, is that he's the only person around these days that will make a film that the masses will come and see, that's packed full of questionable content.
Yes, I think that's
he can get away with anything, really.
Yeah, that's also the other reason, is that even though you might have some good films by a lot of these other directors, it's that if you got to go see a horror movie, you know what you're expecting.
Yeah. Like,
it's a horror movie, so the questionable stuff is on the table, but like, yeah, Tarantino is like one of the last people who's really just challenging people. Yeah,
he's a wild card, and he is an unrelenting vision for each of his films that no one will be able to just detract from. This is how the film has to be, and I'm going to make it this way.
Yeah. I think he's been described as like the rock star director, which makes sense. But
because it's so much fun, Jan. Yeah. Get with it.
You've watched that whole interview in its entirety, right? Do you remember that part where she's
a long time ago? That interview was like when we were kids, and I remember seeing it on TV.
Yeah, I remember, like, I was just watching it the other day, and I just remember when she's saying, well, if a bunch of kids, I'm sorry, like, she's just like,
so you're talking about real life violence.
Real life violence. And she said like, if a bunch of real kids come up and mug you because they've seen your film, don't come crying to me. Like, I'm sorry. Like, she apologized beforehand in a real snarky way, saying like, kids will go and fucking stab you because they watched Kill Bill.
They're not made for kids.
They're not made for kids. And
there's a rating on them for a reason.
And yes, and if you think fucking kids are dumb enough to go commit murder because they saw Kill Bill, you have no respect for kids, and kids are
Yes.
dumb, but they're not meant for kids.
If the
And
if the kids do that, I'm of the opinion that they already had it within them to do that in the first place.
Yes,
Because a normal person does not see a film and then suddenly go, "I am a serial killer." They already had to be a twisted fucking person.
and it's not like if you watch a movie once, you'll be conditioned to violence forever. I was like,
No.
oh, I saw like when I was a kid, when I saw violence, I saw it. I was like, I wasn't like, oh, this is good. I like stabbing. I was like, oh, this is kind of confronting. Goodbye, and I didn't want to watch it because it was. I wasn't like, that gives me this is brainwashing me to love killing kittens. Like it's like
Yeah.
no, it's like
I feel like as a kid, I didn't get to watch anything MA until I was older, but there's still, some pretty violent, like M-rated films and that.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, my parents, they were fairly relaxed with what I would watch because they knew that I saw this as it is fiction, it's not real life. I could differentiate between the two things. I go, this is okay because it's a movie. This is not okay because it's real life. Like, I never swore as a kid because I would go, this is a film, it's not real. There's violence. I was never a violent kid ever. Like, yeah, kids are smarter than people give them credit for. They're also fucking retarded, but they can be smarter than we give them credit for.
And if they're violent, it's not because of the content they consume, it's because of something else.
Yeah. If they're violent, then stop showing them violent shit, I guess.
I get, oh yeah, sure. Like it doesn't really help to be constantly showering this kid with like this negative shit, but like,
Yeah.
At the same time, it's like, oh fucking, I couldn't believe when I heard recently that they were trying to blame video games on mass shootings again. It was
Yes.
like fucking, it's the exact same thing. Don't show kids Kill Bill, otherwise they'll go around killing people. It's like, no, they're not killing people.
Kids are
because
going to shoot up a supermarket because of Fortnite? Like, really?
Yeah, like school shootings happen because I don't know, someone killed my tamed wolf in Minecraft. Like it's
Oh, dude, you kill my tamed wolf in Minecraft, I will blow up the city.
Look at this man here. He thinks I'm gonna blow up the city.
I'll sleep soundly tonight.
I actually almost nearly did confront someone because they killed my Minecraft wolf.
I thought you were going to say you almost did shoot up the city.
I almost killed someone. I almost did blow up the city.
Why? What happened? Tell us the dirty details, Jacob.
I just fucking set it on fire and I came back the next day and I was like, what the fuck, dude? That was my dog. Piece of shit. So I enacted vengeance by setting his cat on fire, and then he just took everything I owned and set my house on fire. And I was like, in Minecraft, not in real life, but if that was, I would have just disproven my entire hypothesis. If I just reject your hypothesis. You seen that?
I did see that. That was them asking about Sharon Tate or something.
Sharon Tate not giving. Well, the thing is, she's not a crucial character or like a major character, but she does have a lot of screen time.
Yeah, she does.
I mean, like, I guess you can. It's just a real clickbaity bullshit thing that they asked him. Like, you don't give her much lines. Do you hate women? It's like, fuck off.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm not fucking answering that. I'm not. Yeah, he's not even going to try and defend himself because he's just going to add fuel to the fire. They want him to respond, and no matter what he says, they will be able to turn it around on him somehow. So he's just like, nope, fuck off.
What a man! What an alpha! What a foot licking alpha!
Yeah. I commend him. I can't be like, I love Quentin Tarantino. He's a great guy because I hear he is kind of questionable himself. But I respect his commitment to his films.
Yeah, I respect his hustle as well. His hustle with
Respect
his
the fucking
studio overruns.
grind.
You know what was really funny to me actually? There's a line in the film. I think this is one of the characters who I thought was kind of fat, but I understood her purpose. Was this little girl character who's there to sort of?
She was an odd addition to the film, but yeah,
like her purpose was sort of like to like motivate. It's sort of comedic because she's there sort of like to motivate and inspire Leonardo DiCaprio's character because he's having a mental breakdown and he's heaps insecure.
Yeah.
So the fact that this 8-year-old girl comes in and encourages him is kind of funny. But like she was talking about how inspiring and how Walt Disney was a genius and something like that, and I was like, wasn't it just your very last movie where you were having a feud with Disney because they were buying out cinemas and not letting you show your movie, The Hateful Eight. And I was like, is that a slight jab, or is that just him like writing like, oh, time period, Walt Disney's a genius.
Well, I mean, regardless, Walt Disney is not Disney today. Walt Disney is a man who was alive a long time ago.
And to be fair, like he was very
and he was a
talented.
genius, yeah.
I thought it was just odd considering considering the state of the movie industry today and the way Disney had treated him in the past, that he'd do this little segment where he's talking about how great Walt Disney is. And it's like,
Jacob,
yeah.
you said you weren't going to bring up Disney in this episode.
Oh shit! Sorry everyone. What's your favorite Disney movie and what is your favorite song? Tell me right now.
Fuck. What is my favorite Disney movie? No. No. Bad Jacob.
My favorite Disney movie is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I love the scene where Mickey Mouse has a casting couch. References to early episodes.
Reference.
Stinky references.
We had a longer than usual running joke earlier this episode about Jurassic World as well, because we skipped it the last couple episodes.
Yeah,
so we had to make up for lost time.
The lost time Jurassic World.
Any other boxes we haven't ticked yet?
I was going to make a very lewd joke then, but it wouldn't have worked in the slightest.
Oh, good. I'm glad you showed restraint.
Unlike Quentin.
We'll probably have to wrap up shortly. But let's just quickly run over. So yeah, Tarantino, he feels like one of the last real filmmakers. You mentioned, but I'm sorry, I moved the conversation away from it. A24.
Yeah. Basically all the good dramas that are being made by A24.
Yes. If you don't know who A24 are, they're a company that they release. Would you call them indie?
I'd just say smaller scale. Yeah.
Smaller scale films, and they're more of the idea that they will just let the director make their creative vision. As it should be. So props to A24, and they make some of the best shit around. Like you and I, the other night, after I watched Midsummer, we were looking around just through their like filmography, and they've got so many like. There's a bunch of films obviously I've never heard of because they release something like 20 films per year these days.
There's a lot of Oscar buzz ones like
Lady Bird, Moonlight.
Green Room. Green Room's a great movie. Like, a lot of good, a lot of good shit. Like, they're gonna release the new movie, Lighthouse soon.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. I hope it's good. It looks really, really unique.
It does. List of A24 films. There was
and then you've got Swiss Army Man, which you and I both love.
Yeah, Swiss Army Man, Bling Ring, Spring Breakers. Tusk, Son of a Gun, Ex Machina, like a lot of good little sci-fi shit.
That's another Oscar.
Enemies,
Oscar puller.
Enemies, a great film. So it's Under the Skin's a lot of like good psychological stuff.
Yeah,
Room,
and of course they've got Hereditary and Midsummer, which we talked about earlier.
Moonlight, that one Best Picture.
Mm-hmm.
Lover's Way, a ghost story where Rooney Mara eats a pie for about.
They did that as well, did they?
Yeah. Florida Project, which I heard is really good. Disaster Artist, that was good.
Yes, I love Disaster Artist.
Yeah, How to Talk to Girls at Parties. I have no clue.
Why'd you say that one?
Oh, you meant the movie?
Right. Oh, fuck. But yeah, just in general. We're just happy that like this company sort of exists.
Yeah, it's sort of like it's like a last bastion. It's like a little it's an outpost in just a sea of just like cynical corporatism. It's like if you ever want to make your little like $20 million art piece, film piece. And you want to go, The Witch. The Witch is a good movie. That's a lot. They make a lot of like crazy out there shit. So like, if you want to you want to go down that path, you want to get creative, go to A24.
If you're in the horror realm as well, you've got A24 or Blumhouse.
Yeah.
Blumhouse have a fair few stinky smears on their name, but it's because they basically they say, here's a small budget, make whatever the fuck you want.
Exactly.
It works for them because it's pretty much guaranteed they're going to make the budget back, and they'll have a profit, so they don't really care. And this is the one time where I'll say the studio not really caring is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Because, we can look at, sorry to bring it up again, but Disney, they don't seem to fucking care. They just want to make money. And Blumhouse, I mean, it's a business. They're probably the exact same. But they just say, here's like $5 to $10 million. Make whatever the fuck you want. And the director just gets to run free. I'm assuming A24 is a similar thing.
Yeah. For judging from what some of the titles in A24 probably has more talent behind it. Like I looked up Bloomhouse projects, and we got Dwayne the Rock Johnson's Tooth Fairy, Paranormal Activity series.
Yes, but on the other end,
Purge.
you've got Get Out.
Yeah.
Is by Blumhouse. What's it called? Upgrade. We talk about Upgrade all the fucking time. That was just, he got given $5 million, and he was like, make whatever you want, and he made the best movie.
I think they're getting Black Klansman as well. They're getting a little bit better. I think.
There's some stinky fucking movies. Like there is Truth or Dare, which I never want to see ever. But I just appreciate the fact that they will allow people with just the creative freedom to make what they want. And A24 is the same. So we respect...
even if it sucks, which is good.
Yeah.
Because, it's not... Sometimes we make that, false dichotomy of big corporate production equals bad, indie developer equals good. It's like, no, both can make shit. Both can make good things.
Yeah, I'm pretty much 100% sure that despite all of A24's successes, there's a bunch of movies on there we've never heard of, and I'm sure some of them are not very good.
Yeah, I'm sure of it.
But doesn't matter. They got to make their film, and we respect A24 for allowing them to do so, because they probably would not have been able to otherwise.
Exactly. Good on you, A24.
Good on you, A24.
Good on you, A24.
To a lesser extent, good on you, Blumhouse, as well.
Blumhouse, you're getting there.
Yes.
Jeff Goldblum house.
But final thoughts on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's a weird thing to recommend because I feel like a lot of people aren't going to get it. But
if you let me say this. The reason why it's so slow, I thought that's what I was originally going to bring up. Because I actually learned this when I went to film school, is that, have you ever seen the original Dirty Harry movies?
No.
Well, I don't know whether you realize, but a lot of scenes, like the shots were much longer. Like in comparison to today, the editing is really quick. Like if you walk down the street, like someone exits the door, you need a quick shot of them walking down the street, then they're there. Now,
something like Taxi Driver, that's 5 minute long scenes of him driving,
or him just walking to a place. Part of the reason was because it was so difficult to really make a movie back then. Mm-hmm. It's much more easier to now, so it's much more economical. So back then, they would, in order to get as much bang for their buck, they'd be like, or in order to use up the film reel, in order to pad out the scene a little bit, we'll just make this scene go on for a little bit. Let just Clint Eastwood walk down the street for 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So it was more about not being too and trying to fit in that runtime. And to a certain extent, it sort of tests your patience a little bit, because I don't mind that. But if you can't stand movies like that, especially from the late 60s and early 70s, where it takes its time and doesn't mind showing you scenes of people driving for 6 minutes, you will enjoy it. You will love it. If you do not care in the fucking slightest, you will hate the movie.
Yes.
Which is a shame, because it's a good movie. So I would recommend to people with the patience of a saint.
Yes. If you're a patient man or creature, if you're a patient creature, you'll likely love this movie. And yes, would wholly recommend it. But yeah, you got to be patient. It's a long movie.
It's worth it. The last 15 minutes make that build up so worth it.
Oh man, yeah. It's my. I think the best ending I've seen to a movie this year.
It is.
It's so cathartic as well. Especially after 2 hours and like 20 minutes of what is slow, to just have that ending.
To have that much energy in the ending as well. Yeah,
Wonderful.
Wonderful ending. It's mayhem. It's lovely.
Yes.
All right, I think that's we should wrap it up.
That's it.
We're good. Yeah.
What's even on the horizon? What's coming out soon?
The sun.
Thank you, Jacob. We've got be excited. Soon we'll have Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
Funny quick story about Dora and the City of Gold. I went to go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood last night, and there's those big cardboard cutouts of new movies, like the big displays cardboards and like in cinemas. There was one of Dora the Explorer, but obviously the torch she held up had snapped and it had been like torn off.
Yeah, that shit always happens.
It always happens. So it looks like from anybody walking past, it looks like Dora's burning her fucking scalp off. So literally the torch is burning the back of her head.
Did you take a photo?
No, I didn't.
Boo.
I should have. I did take a photo of a condom I saw down the street as well, though.
Oh, you actually feel free to send it through.
I will send it through. I'll put it up on the screen. You can put it up on the screen right as of now.
Oh God.
Just before I go, can I talk about one quick thing I'm so fucking sick of about cinemas?
No.
And it's not so much about cinemas. Oh, no.
Episode just ends.
I'll be real quick.
No, go for it.
Real quick. When the cinema is busy, I understand adhering to your cinema seats. Like, I'm in seat J11. Go sit in J11 because the cinema's packed. But when there's barely anybody there, I hate the cunts who walk up to you and say, "You're sitting in my spot."
Oh.
That's happened to me twice when I went to go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We went to go see it in the big VMAX theater. There's 200, 300 seats. There's like maybe 5 other people in there. We go sit directly in the middle. This guy walks up to us. "You're sitting in my spot." "I'm sitting here, man." And I was like, all right, we'll move. And so we just went back to our spots, and we were just like, dude, you had. Why do you care where exactly you sit?
I'm in the opposite boat here.
Well,
I went to see Lion King today, and there was someone sitting in my seat, and I was like, motherfucker, and I sat 2 seats away from him.
Well, again, if it's busy, I completely understand. But if there's nobody there, why bother?
Well, I picked that seat.
Who cares?
I went online and I was like, I want to sit there. There was no one near me. That's why I wanted to sit there. I would be all alone, and this motherfucker sat there.
Well, great. We were going to end on a very happy note, but now we're going to be butting heads again. Lachlan, you pedantic fuck. It's just literally sit either 2 seats away or a row back. It's okay.
Jacob, please. I didn't mean anything by it. Please don't try to start a helter-skelter race war with me.
That's it. All your black friends belong to me now. All your black friends belong to me now.
And cut.
Helter Skelter. What a good reference, my dude.